Good day. Today's lab is going to be using a physical machine, a Windows machine, and a Kali. So the first thing we want to do is get our IP addresses so we don't get confused. So IP address. And it is, I modeled this after the university, so it should be 10.27.110, 220 with a 24-bit mask. And if we look at our notepad, there it is. So go to your VM. So now I'm on my Windows VM or your Windows machine. Either one will work. And I have 212. Now, notice I didn't do the all. So I'm missing some crucial information that I like to see. So you get all this information with the all. And then you get an abbreviated if you only do the ipconfig. I already did this, so I'm not going to do it. You can do it separately or together. Sometimes it won't let you do it together. You have to do them separate. So here's let's do it the combined way, less typing. And let's check our physical machine. So IP config. And here's my virtual box. You should have one too. Here's my Ethernet, and I'm a 172.2540. And 255, 255, 2550, which is the same thing as when you see in a /24. All right, clear. All right, so let's see. I think this is already installed. So let's just see if we can start SSH and start the service remote desktop. So sudo service SSH start. Now, if it gives you an error, this is where we'd see it. So at this point, we have to assume that SSH started. So now let's go back. I'm just going to arrow up, use my arrow keys to backspace, and we'll do xrdp. Okay, so that's new. xrdp now is pre-installed with Kali, which makes sense because we're going to remote in and take the monitor off and make a headless workstation. All right, so at this point, we should be able to remote into it, but you cannot remote desktop into an operating system that you already had logged into with the, so we can't log in as Kali again. We have to have a new user. So we're going to add user. Now this part, don't type. It's just this. So we can copy that. I'm doing Control-Shift-V. So when you're in Oracle box, that's going to do it. This is good. It says only roots can add a user. So how do we make ourselves take the space? See that space right there? Take that off and go back and do sudo. Okay, now you won't be able to see your password, just type it. There's the first one. And okay, at this point, you can fill in the name and whatnot, or just press enter. And you can see it right here. That's one thing about Linux. It usually gives you some good instructions if you know where to look. Now, at this point, you can type Y, capital or lowercase, or press enter, and then it accepts. Okay, so let's double check. ID command. Okay, so since we created a user, let's see how many users are on this Kali. ID, see how it's green, so it likes that command. And right now we have Kali. And Kali, and then you have CD, floppy, sudo, and we're looking for, let's move this over. Huh. Don't see the RDP. Okay. We'll fix that in the lab later today. All right. So at this point, we want to run wireshark sudo, and you have to do it in sudo or it won't activate your interfaces. So once again, we're going to wait a few seconds to see a little activity. So I'll hit browser. Oh, there's my activity. Okay. I'm going to close the browser for now. Double click Ethernet. And once again, we're going to filter. So we want a wireshark. We want to do it with a very specific purpose in the beginning. And right now there's some ICMPs, which are just simple pings. This is my physical machine. Here's my VM. Okay, let's clear my VM screen. So if I ping 10.10.27, so now we can see there's an echo request and then Callie replied, a request, reply. If we double click this, then we can start see the layers that we're going to be learning. So there's a frame, Ethernet 2, Internet protocol. We're going to learn more about this as we go. And if I go to Internet control message, there's information on this also. So if we try to right click here and we go down to follow stream, there's no stream because we'll learn later, it's not using TCP. All right, so let's do SSH. Okay, so I know I can ping it, so let's do SSH -L for login 10.27.110.220. We got the username. So this would be Callie. So now, of course, all right, get this window a little closer. It's telling me here is what we're dealing with is your encryption key is SHA 256-bit encryption. And then here's this long number here. So whatever this encryption is, it used this number. So we're going to agree to it or we won't be able to get into the remote session. So you can see that over here, it's showing you SSH protocol, key exchange. This is the actual process of encryption. Diffie-Hellman, we'll talk about that in that when we get to that point in the chapters. So password. So I've successfully remoted into my Callie through an SSH session. Now at this point, I'm going to exit so I don't forget to. So I don't want to keep that session open. So over here, I'm going to click on this elliptical Diffie-Hellman. Then we're going to run a follow, and you'll see now you see the TCP stream. And so you can read this up here. It says you're going to go from a Windows 8 to a Debian 8. Here's your encryption things, your SHA. And then down here, you start to see almost like gibberish. It's not readable. So that's your username and password when you do the encryption 256. Okay, so let's clear this. And then we're going to do RDP. And if you do RPD, it barks at you because it turns red. So it's PD, R remote desktop protocol, RDP. Okay. So at this point, we can come here to this Windows machine and go ahead and open up. I'm going to search for remote desktop. It came up right there. So this is built into Windows. So we know the IP is 10.27.110.220. And notice, soon as it's starting to negotiate right here, RDP, IP addresses are shown. So once again, if I have to say yes, if I say no, it will exit the session. So now let's try RDP and then the password. Voila, we've successfully taken the monitor off our device. In this case, it's a Kali. Didn't like something in here. And then once again, if I look at this exchange, see encrypted, here's your security exchange. So if I follow this, does it have a stream? Yes, it does. And then, ooh, wow, nothing's really readable here. You can save as a text file. So we'll do some of these things. You can filter the stream out. You can print it. And what we didn't do, I'm going to go ahead and close out of wireshark. I'm going to quit without saving. Clear. So let's ping the PC, which was, I didn't do this in the beginning, so I'll do it now. So it's 10.27.110.112. So unreachable. This is bad. So let's go over here to the Windows machine. I'm going to minimize. I'm in my VM. And so we want to search Windows Defender firewall. So let's open this up, check oh, there it is. So if you're not on a domain, you'll have two firewalls, your guest and your private and your public. So what we want to do is if I turn off the private, will it start pinging? What's your prediction? It's telling us it's off. So I'm going to restart the ping. So still nothing. So let's do public. Check my 212. That's why it was. Hope you're having a good laugh. 212. Okay, so now it's pinging, but let's do turn off private, turn on private. Oh, so it didn't like that. Oh, no, it's okay. All right. It took a minute to think. Let's turn this one back on and then see what happens. So the firewall is going to stop certain activities that we want to do. And that's one of the things that hackers have to, that's the first thing, is get around those firewalls and things like that. One last thing. Whoop. What we want to do, I'm going to do Control-Alt-T, and that opens up terminal. So I'm going to do an nmap on this, nmap on this IP, but I'm going to use the 127.0.0.1, which is the loopback. So this opened up SSH, this opened up web server. So we're going to start one more service, and then we're going to shut all the services down. So sudo service. Let's go ahead and start up Apache 2 start. Okay. So if we arrow up and do another nmap, let's take away this and do the real IP. So it would be 10.27.110.220. All of a sudden we opened up. So Apache 2 is a web server. So now if I go over here to my VM, put in 10.27.110.220, I have a web page. So what we're going to do now is we're going to stop the service. Let's nmap. We should be able to predict what went away. So port 80 went away. Now let's take away SSH. Do another nmap on yourself. And now, once again, let's take away remote desktop, xrdp. And look at my machine, it kicked me out. But then nmap again. So what hackers will do is bring up temporary websites and have domain names and put bad links and they put payloads in here, either links or download files. And then we infect our people we want to attack. And number one, we can probably spread it through email. So that'll conclude, I believe. Oh, you can XRDP the wireshark too, and it'll be the same thing. You can't read you can't read it. All right, I'll see everyone in class.